Despite the extent of the damage to the house, these bars are still securely attached to the side of the building, which means anyone inside during the fire would have been trapped.
Well, Jay Dean, Fresno police just can't seem to figure out why people need to drive around town with one of these in their hand. And for that matter, they wonder why people need to get drunk on booze or high on drugs and then go out for a spin.
You know, I have never seen a community event this large before. And when I got out here tonight, all I could say was, wow.
This is the KMPH 10 o'clock news.
If you got hit with a parking ticket at last night's Grizzlies game, your fine won't get thrown out, but it may get reduced. That's because at least one Fresno City Council member believes some fans may not be aware of the city's new parking meter restrictions around the stadium.
We don't want people to be discouraged from coming downtown.
And Councilmember Tom Boyajian is leading the cheer after learning that more than 100 parking meter citations were issued during last night's 4th of July Grizzlies game. Each carries an $18 fine.
But we do need to have some concessions and give some education to people. This is going to happen. We can't go in there and be, you know, the parking Nazis at this point.
Fresno City officials say last night's attack of the meter maids resulted in citing less than 10% of the parking meters. They say the whole idea of the new long enforcement hours is to encourage patrons to use the new long-term parking.
The city's done a tremendous job of creating additional parking facilities, garages and lots to accommodate lengthy parking needs for things like stadium events.
City officials point out that the meters around the stadium have a mandated time limit for each customer. So even if patrons were to repeatedly come out of the stadium and keep pumping coins into these things, they could still get ticketed.
That's why at least one city official doesn't want fans to cry foul. Instead, he wants to call time out.
I'd mitigate the fine. I'd mitigate the fine to what's reasonable, $5. To me, that's reasonable.
John and Jay Dean, bizarre is what some are calling this latest twist in the California recall. But local officials are staying the course because they say no one has yet put the brakes on the election. At least a dozen people are needed at the Fresno County Elections Office just to let the voters know if the recall is on or off.
We're going forward with the assumption that there will be no delay. We're preparing for October the 7th.
More than 300,000 Californians have already cast absentee ballots at a rate of about 600 an hour.
Election officials admit that if the recall is delayed and you've already cast an absentee ballot like these 11,000 people have here in Fresno County, well, those votes will not be counted and you'll have to cast another vote in the next election.
Also at issue if a delay is ordered is the $67 million taxpayers have invested in the recall, dollars that officials say cannot be recalled.
If we do not have an election on October the 7th, then that money will have been for naught.